think color pop mode is the most underestimated and undervalued mode inside of HueForge. And so today I'm going to walk you through my full workflow from start to finish in color pop mode. So go grab an image, just look one up, and as long as it has one pop of color, you're good to go. And let's hop in to go from start to finish, full workflow on what color pop mode can actually do. All right, so we are in here. Also, have you guys enjoyed the new style of videos? They're much less like yelly at the camera and a little bit more conversational. So I hope you guys have enjoyed them. Today, we're going to be looking at this image of Tanjiro. Now, this will be coming out on MakerWorld later this week. And so if you want this cool graffiti art style Demon Slayer print, check out my MakerWorld profile. It's available there soon. And so give it a like, give it a boost. I'd really appreciate it. So today we're going to be diving into color pop mode, and there's a couple different things. I always say when you hop into HueForge, always start in standard mode, right? We always want to check to see if it's possible. Well, I've done the hard work for you, and you can do it in standard mode, but it's going to be a lot cooler and more accurate to the image if we do it inside color pop mode. So we are already loaded into color pop mode. Also, if you want the color pop cheat sheet, it's going to be in the description below. Go check it out. It will be super helpful. Now, color pop mode is doing something really interesting. The core principle of color pop is that it is taking two standard mode images, two standard mode HueForges, and it is pasting them on top of one another. And this slider here is the bar in which that division happens. So if you imagine, let's put this right at 0.5, this is where it is by default. We have a standard mode HueForge up here, and we have a standard mode HueForge down here. And all color pop is doing is it's shoving everything that it sees as monochrome and it's putting it on the bottom. And then it's taking anything that's not monochrome and shoving it up here on the top. Now, that doesn't mean we have to keep it monochrome down here. It's just reading the monochrome data from the right. And so anything that is white, gray, or black, it is going to shove down here below this bar. And anything that is a pixel that's not black, gray, or white, it's going to shove at the top of our color core. And so generally a good principle to start inside of color pop mode is to bring this, I like to keep it between 0.75 and 0.6, and it will move around a little bit, but this is kind of the good sweet spot, if you will, for this bar. And if you hover over the bar here, you'll actually see a tooltip pop up that will show you exactly what this bar is doing. But really, simplest definition is it is the dividing line between the top HueForge and the bottom one. Then we're going to bring our white, and good principle, at least to start, is to keep the white right under the dividing line here for our HueForge. And so I'm going to place it right at layer 19, right above the white here. And so as you can see, we have this kind of monochrome image that lives below this dividing line. And this is the first step to any color pop image that you're working with. Now, if we come to our filaments, and I know it's hard for you to see them fully over here, but this is your full filament library. I'll even drag this over a little bit since we'll be looking at it a little bit today. This is your filament library. And as you scroll through here, we're going to see all sorts of filaments. And so your instinct, which would be correct, is going to be to grab green and toss it up here on the top. And when we look at this image, you could say, boom, that looks really good. Like, I like it. We have good kind of shading here happening. The green is popping off the screen. We're done. It looks great. And I think if you were happy with this, like, that's awesome. This is a really cool image, and we could definitely print this out and it would look awesome. But the thing that I am not loving about just the green is how flat it is. And if we zoom in here, you can really see what I'm talking about. We have three different shades of green here. We have light green, mid green, and dark green. And I want to try and achieve all of that shading right here in our color pop image. Now, many of you might be, okay, well, that's not possible. We need to go to color match, and we'll color match the greens, the different shades. And you can definitely do that. But the cool thing inside of color pop is you can generally blend from dark colors to light colors on the top portion of your HueForge, as long as they're in the same color family. So in this case, it would be green. If you had a green and a red together, it would be really hard for you to blend those together to get both the green and the red to pop out. That's why standard mode it can be difficult to get that type of color separation. But just like a standard mode image, we can blend this pretty easily. Two real approaches to this. The first one would be we can bring in a dark green right? And we can like bring the screen down. So we have a dark green, then we have this light green or this mid green, and then we could grab like a light green, maybe this apple. And we could do something like this. So now we have the different colors kind of portrayed here. We have our mid greens, this like vibrant kind of mid-tone. We have this light green, this apple matte, and then we have the dark green. And again, this looks really good. Now, if you are printing this for your own personal love of the game, then this might be an easy print for you to do. This is going to be 6 filaments, which means if you have one AMS system, you're going to have to pause it at some point to introduce these 2 other colors. And for a lot of people, that's fine. This is going to be the most accurate version of this HueForge. And of course, you know, we can play around. We can bring the gray down a tad to make the white a little bit more vibrant. Maybe bring the slider up a tad, something like that, just to get it to pop off the screen a little bit more. It's much more vibrant this way. But maybe you don't want to print with 6 colors. You don't want to add a pause to your print. What do you do then? That's a great question, because for me, I produce HueForges for people to print on MakerWorld. And there's a crazy statistic out there. If your HueForge is more than 4 colors, it will perform about 70% worse than HueForges that are only 4 colors. And that's really just boils down to people don't want to switch out filaments. They just don't want to. The average printer does not want to do that. And maybe you've experienced this. Maybe you've gone out and purchased an AMS system just so that you don't have to swap out the colors. So you get it. But there's a way that we can blend the colors still and have 4 colors. And I want you to pause real quick, and I just want you to think, if this is a standard mode down here and this is a standard mode up here, how can we blend a green together to get this type of highlighting? Okay, I'm going to delete the dark green. I'm going to delete the light green. We need to rebase and rehighlight. Rebasing. I've talked about it a lot in my course, but all rebasing is bringing a black up and tossing it somewhere at the top to kind of start over. Now, rebasing is a strategy that works really well some of the time and works awful some of the time. So it really just depends on the filaments that you have on hand and how possible it is to rebase a specific color. So as you see, when we dragged in the black here, the green got a little darker. And if we bring our slider down ever so slightly, now we have like a dark green hanging out here that we didn't have before. We had this other Bamboo Lab basic green, which I don't think even exists anymore. Maybe the pine green took its place, I'm not sure. But now we have this dark green happening here, and we're reusing a color that we've already used in our HueForge before. It's such a fundamental principle. Right now, we're still at only 4 colors. But if you look at our image still, we've added a lot of depth, but we haven't added any highlights. With the concept of rebasing, I want you to think, okay, how can we add highlights to this HueForge? I'll give you a second. If your answer was add white to the top, you would be correct. We can add white to the top. We'll bring our green up maybe a little bit. Maybe something like that. And now we have a close representation of the original image here, and we only had to use 4 colors. Now, I want you to understand that when you go from 6 colors to 4 colors, there is almost always going to be a compromise. Almost always. And in this case, the highlight green is a little less neon in our version than it is in the original version. And we could play around with that. Maybe you want to play around with a different green, and the whole world is open to you. This coax neon green is super cool. That's a lot more accurate to the original image than the Bamboo Lab basic green was. So you can play around with different greens. Coax, this one's pretty cool. It's more of a yellow than anything. So you can play around with different filaments depending on what you own. But that is the concept of being able to blend colors together inside of ColourPop when it feels like you have to use color match. This is a really fundamental principle, and it's how I approach a lot of my HueForges. Now, if we came here and used a different image, I'm going to drag in just this Inosuke here. In this image, we don't have a lot of blending happening. The ColourPop is just blue. So in this case, we don't need to do all that fancy blending. We just need to find a really good blue. So let's grab cyan and just toss it on top. In this case, since the ColourPop is very flat, the work is done for us. We don't have to do too much extra to this print, even if we grab Bamboo Lab Basic Blue or maybe Cobalt Blue to get a little bit more accurate of a pop there. And if I add white to the top, it's just going to make most of it a little bit lighter, depending on where you place your blue. So it really depends on the source image that you're using, but ColourPop works perfectly. It works fantastic for images that have a single pop of color, or a image that has a pop of color where the pop of color lives in the same color family. So if it goes from dark, medium to light, or dark to light, or there's 4 or 5 steps in there, you can blend on top of the color core up into certain colors that you want to use. So that's how I approach ColourPop. ColourPop is one of my favorite modes. I think it is the most undervalued and underused mode. I think people say that it's hard. It's a different concept when you have to think about 2 HueForges at once, but once you've nailed standard mode, ColourPop mode comes so naturally. So what I would love for you to do, grab an image, find one on Pinterest, download one, use AI to generate one, I don't care, toss it into HueForge and play around with ColourPop mode and let me know what comes naturally to you inside of ColourPop mode and what do you need a little bit more practice on. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, you should join the Discord. We talk about HueForge all day, we're super active, and there's almost like 800 of y'all in there. So join the Discord, and if you want to go from 0 to pro in HueForge over the course of about 6 months, you should check out my course. My course has everything that you need, not only to learn HueForge, but to monetize it. My goal when you join my Patreon is for you to make that money back tenfold. So if you've just been wanting to learn it, hop over there, jump in, and I can't wait to see you guys over there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe, do all the things that help me out a ton, and a huge shout out to all my YouTube members, all my Patreon members. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you guys so, so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then, y'all, take care.